Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan, trader and technical analyst for the last 13 years. In this video, we're going to check in on the broader market as the bears followed through from yesterday, shaping up those weekly lower highs, which we knew were the most likely scenario. We just didn't know exactly when they were going to form. They've now formed. Where do we look from here?
So again, just to backtrack, it's always easier looking at things in hindsight, but we headed into this week knowing a weekly lower high was the most likely scenario in XLF, XLV, QQQ SPY. The question we had to start the week is, do we get another leg up first, or are the weekly lower highs going to be set from here? And the S&P 500 rejecting from resistance and breaking support says it's set now. So now we're looking back at the recent low, and this October low is pretty darn important here. And keep in mind that, we know seasonality. How many trading days we got? 8 trading days in October. So seasonality, definitely a thing in the end of the year. And again, I've recently been shocked to see the actual statistics behind it, where compared to the October lows, the NASDAQ closes higher by the end of the year 88% of the time the last 52 years. That's a very, very high percentage. Does that mean it's going to happen this year? Absolutely not. But a lot of traders are going to be positioning based off that October low, based on an 88% probability. And so going to be watching very closely these recent lows. So for SPY, it's now a weekly lower high of resistance at 438.14. And again, it's just the downtrend, lower high, lower low, lower high. Do we get another lower low? We need to see a break of 420 for that to be the case. That's 1.5% to the downside from where we stand right now. High bear volume today as well. There was a lot of volatility surrounding Powell speaking, which led to that higher volume, but bears like it because it's certainly a big volume day on that candle. NASDAQ said I'd be keeping an eye out on this potential 4-hour falling wedge if we were green today. We rejected from resistance on the morning and rolled over, so take the lines off. No longer a visual guide. It's not a 4-hour falling wedge. And again, certainly was not anticipating that that was the most likely scenario, but kept an eye out on it. And so the NASDAQ is setting the weekly lower high as well. And again, the question is, can we hold the recent low and form a weekly higher low? It's the only hope for the bulls in the short term here would be an inverse head and shoulders. But obviously, there is zero indication of that at the moment as the bears have a full head of steam in their direction here. Stair step drop 5 days in a row. Hourly downtrend is our guide. And I'm maybe watching for a 2-day equilibrium. If the NASDAQ's going to break this low, we would need another 2.4% to the downside. Definitely possible. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a daily bounce first, considering it's a waterfall drop at this point. Bears will then look to try and confirm a daily downtrend to follow through into a weekly support break. Tesla, bearish reaction to earnings, bearish reaction to the conference call of earnings last night. So the weekly equilibrium broke bear, and that was at 234s. Now what? Look at the 3-month. We're on the verge of setting a 3-month lower high. If you'll remember, I've been talking a whole bunch about a lot of potential longer-term 3-month equilibrium shaping up. Netflix had a very bullish reaction to earnings. It already set the 3-month lower high. So all-time high, fear low, lower high, and now with the help of earnings, bulls are trying to set a quick 3-month higher low. Big time move up today. We were up 16%. But bulls will still have proving to do if this is going to be that 3-month higher low. And again, other names, is Meta going to form a 3-month lower high and tighten up? We'll talk about Meta in just a moment. Is Google going to do it? They're a lot closer to resistance, but it is still a possibility. Burden on bears on those names. But again, Tesla is knocking on the door of that 3-month lower high. If we get it, what are we going to look for? I'm going to look for a 3-month higher low compared to 100. And for an equilibrium to tighten up most of 2024. But first things first, bears got to take out 212. Hourly downtrend will be our guide for bear control. Meta. So Meta did confirm a daily downtrend today, only by a couple bucks. Less than $1. mean follow through at this point. But what stands out to me is, again, a monthly bull flag confirming straight into a daily downtrend. And if you look at Meta divided by QQQ, the last 2 days have started to show some relative weakness again. And so if this is a rising wedge, so often we look for relative strength and weakness changes and it aligns with news. And so I'm not necessarily saying, well, I'm saying keep an eye out for Meta news we saw with NVDA. I mean, NVDA news shifted the correlation for the weekly lower high into the clear weakness the last week. And so I'm watching for the same thing in Meta. If this relative strength chart breaks bearish from this daily rising wedge, it will definitely be getting my attention. We've been stronger than the NASDAQ in a weekly stair-step pattern 8 weeks in a row at this point. And I'm watching for that to shift. And Meta had a couple nice plays for 15-minute lower highs off resistance. The NASDAQ today was all over the place with Powell. I mean, the broader markets as a whole were. But it was a megaphone. And again, megaphone is a piss everyone off pattern. What do I mean by that? I mean, you stop out the bulls, you stop out the bears, you stop out the bulls, and then the bears won. The key, what was the key there to the bears winning? You didn't stop out the bears here. The bears had a level to play off of for a top fish and a 5-minute stair step. When things get that volatile, that's when stair step patterns work their best. And just as the example here, okay, we're approaching resistance, 5-minute stair step. We just bounced 1.5% with no 5-minute trend change. As soon as you break 364.87, that's your trigger. Your stop goes over the high at that point, and the bears then take over. So we'll see if the Meta bears are able to follow through from here. We will just be looking for a weekly high or low on Meta. Anything above 286, there's certainly space for the bulls to work with. But again, that monthly bull flag confirming with no follow through and the possibility of a long-term 3-month lower high, paying attention. Semiconductors, bearish engulfing candle. NVDA, pretty much a double top. Less than $1. We broke the high of yesterday by less than $1 and then rolled over. We did hold the low of yesterday. Bulls trying to establish some support in the 418s, but we are not confirming an hourly uptrend. It was a higher open and no hourly uptrend at the moment. The only way that NVDA and Tesla bulls are going to give us any confidence that an earnings reaction low is set, it's got to be an hourly uptrend as the first attempt at setting a bottom on the earnings reaction. Healthcare 4-hour rising wedge, confirming in a big way, weekly lower high very clearly set, and very quickly back down towards a recent low, 126.88. And if that level breaks, going to stay on the 2-month time frame and keep watching this long-term support of 122.11. But heading back down, and it looks like healthcare may be one of the first sectors to hit a weekly lower low. XLF, also very weak today, high bear volume. Weekly lower high set. And now looking at the low of 32.21. I exited this afternoon into the close, the second half of my bearish swing position from Wednesday as we dropped 3.7% in less than 3 days, far exceeding my expectations over the last couple of days with the magnitude of that drop. And we'll see if the bulls are able to defend 32.21 to try for a bit of a bounce. But again, all these names that have dropped pretty hard the last 2 days, they've now all got space by QQQ, XLF, XLV, all got space for a daily lower high to be the most likely result of the next bounce that we see. So keeping that in mind as well. IWM, bear break of the equilibrium to fresh lows. So never confirmed the daily uptrend as laggards. And now, still looking at our long-term support. We're knocking on the door, 166.21 here in this tightening range. Yep, 166.21. If that breaks, that is a long, drawn-out equilibrium breaking bear. I'd prefer it gets a bit tighter first, personally, but we're right there. 1.5% or so. ARKK, bear break. Yesterday, giving a little heads up to the IWM bears, but following through. And monthly consolidation back down towards a base of support around the upper 34s. But again, all bear control still. Bulls haven't proven anything on this chart since we topped out. And again, that was a rising wedge, setting a weekly lower high. And bulls haven't done nice little bounces, but again, never confirming the trend change. So we still have the same names leading the way down. Biotech sector has been extremely weak. Look at this biotech sector downtrend. Just constant rejections from EMA 12 the last month. And here we are. We're close to confirming a 3-month bear flag. Look at the back test of EMA 12 bear cross for the first time ever. First time ever in this ETF in the last 17 years. And watching that 61.78 support level. Let's go to the 6-month time frame. Let's go to the year-long time frame. And again, it's a long-term top being set. When's the biotech sector going to go back to all-time highs? It's going to take a long time to regain all these trends. Solar sector. No daily trend change. Tried to shape it up. Failed. Back down towards the lows. So again, still a lot of weakness in a lot of places. Utilities fading back a bit. NEE has yet to confirm a daily uptrend yet. Bulls are going to look for a higher low, anything above 47.15, but earnings are quickly approaching. Uranium, CCJ confirmed a daily uptrend by getting over resistance, but now we have to zoom out to the weekly and ensure we have a new line in the sand. 35.18 is the most important support because if that breaks, it's then a weekly downtrend. So are we about to set a weekly lower high on CCJ? No indication of it at the moment, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for it. And again, 4-hour, if the 4-hour ends up being a rising wedge type of pattern on this bounce attempt, we scout that weekly lower high. And at the moment, it's a bull break without much follow through, but we would have to be red tomorrow for that to continue to be the case. The dollar is still tight. Not much going on here just yet, but the 10-year continues to surge for the bulls. That's definitely been a headwind on the markets on this leg up. We're at the 5% mark. Nice psychological round number with the weekly bull flag confirming. And again, no sign of topping out just yet. Definitely keeping pressure. Again, this is the biggest tally in the bears column, aside from, an individual sector bear that has a weekly, daily, hourly downtrend, like our lead bears, ARKK, IWM. This is the biggest tally in the bear column for the broader market right now, in my opinion, is the strength of the 10-year. And TLT keeps dumping. Again, people keep asking me, when's it time to look long? Give me a daily uptrend. Again, we don't need to nail the bottom. If there's going to be a long-term cycle shift, waiting for a trend change on the daily is perfectly fine. There will still be plenty of opportunity. There is no need to nail the bottom. We have not confirmed a clear daily uptrend in 3 months. We can wait for that to be a signal. Oil, trying to negate. So whenever I had this as a visual guide, 4-hour rising wedge. So what do I do here in this instance? I drop my support line and put it there, and I move my resistance line. And again, I'm not trading off of these trend lines. It's just a visual guide. And we're on the verge of negating this being a rising wedge. Again, same thing. Have to be red tomorrow into 4-hour consolidation for me to keep watching this. So it's on the verge of being negated with a big green day for oil today. And we got the energy sector still up there knocking on the door of the all-time highs. So pretty much I'm going to delete those lines unless we're red tomorrow. Natural gas. So the red flag yesterday was confirming the 4-hour uptrend straight into a test back of the lows. When you confirm a trend change with no follow through, you zoom out and scout a flag. And that was a daily bear flag that is now confirmed. And the bulls have lost their momentum. And so we're now looking back towards weekly EMA support. But at this point, we can bounce 10% and still be under where we came from. So bulls losing a lot of that momentum and back to testing some previous resistance zones from the way up. AI, still in this swing, daily lower high set, stop's going to be under 24.33. I like the way it's holding up. I mean, if you showed me IWM and ARKK, I would easily expect AI to be testing the lows right now. PLTR, daily lower high set, heading back towards daily support. So yesterday was the ideal bear day with all sectors dropping together and money leaving the markets. And today was a follow-up of that, very similar. And so nice follow through. Bears have short-term control. The burden is on bulls now. Again, we started the week with burden on bears. All right, they did it. They proved to us that these weekly lower highs are set. There is a murder of crows out here. It's got to be 100 plus. The burden was on bears. They did it. And now the burden's on bulls to hold October lows. And again, it's for XLF, XLV, QQQ, and SPY. Can bulls hold the October lows, or do bears run away with it to fresh lows? And again, if we hit a new fresh low from here on a weekly lower low, the probability needle of the long-term 3-month equilibrium on SPY and QQQ increases further. And I guess breaking the October low would pretty much be setting the 3-month lower high on SPY and QQQ. It's already set on SPY. It's not set on QQQ yet. So bears just want to keep this going a bit further. And again, it doesn't have to be a straight drop. That would be nice for bears, get it done with quick, but a daily lower high and lower low can be part of the way that we get there as well. Hope you had a great day, and we'll see you soon. Do good things.
Just starting to turn.